the true infinity is a circle. Okay, the snake eating itself. That's the way it's depicted in ancient texts and ancient drawings and things like that and carvings. Okay, it's a circle, the snake eating itself. That represents the principal fields that we have floating around us every day. The aether, okay? When you run your finger across like this, if you're sensitive enough, you can feel the air passing between your fingers, okay? Think of it as being just like the Gans that you're creating, okay? You have to think of that air as it's touching your skin, is activating a little electrical impulse on the surface, okay, which causes your brain to fire and say, hey, that feels cooler, okay? But there's so many of them that when it interacts with the water or the sweat on your hand, you can feel that it's cooler, right? Because it's being gravitational, it's pulling the energy away from it. So now you're gonna have to start changing your perception of the area around you, okay? Literally the area right around you, okay? And I don't know if you guys are familiar with this, I guess it's called an indigo test or whatnot, okay? If it's bright where you guys are and you have blue sky, okay? Don't look in a spot where the sun is, but look into a bright patch of the blue sky and sit there for about a minute, okay? If you start to see little sparkles and little dots, okay, which most of you guys already have been able to do, okay? What you're seeing is the inside energy field of your auric field. All right? That makes you special because there are people that cannot do that. Okay? They cannot do that. And what that means is when you understand how our mind and this 3D holographic world operates, okay? It takes a tremendous amount of energy, and it comes from the inside of the earth, okay? The central sun of the earth, okay? And there's so much energy that from the very center of that earth, it's pushing the mountains, it's pushing the color, it's pushing the trees, it's pushing everything outwards, okay? That's the holographic image that we've got, okay? It's hard for our brains to wrap our minds around this, okay? And that's why I was going through my explanation earlier on one of my posts about the human android body and things like that. But once you understand how the energy is processed through the brain, okay, you can start to visualize in your devices that you're making what you want to accomplish, okay? And that's what we have to understand here.
I wanted to add in that I'm noticing it with the Gans. I've tried to commune with the Gans, and I have gotten some messages, and the Gans told me that you can use like a small container of it and it would do the same thing a crystal did, that it can hold intent. It said it can hold up to 3 intents at once, which is different from a crystal, which only really holds 1 intent, I think. And you can have it, you know, enlarge the field or like shield or something like that. So
I'd like to clarify that you're not talking to the Gans.
Okay.
You're talking to your higher self.
Okay.
All right. There are many of your higher selves, and they're all coming together in an alignment right above your head. Okay, as we speak. Okay. When that happens, you're going to wake up and know some shit one day. All right. You're just going to be like, whoa. All right. Now I understand. Okay. And it's going to slap you in the face, and it can be scary and it can be fun all at the same time, you know, because it's a lot of information. And we've all been getting little nitpicks and pieces of that, you know, some of us for decades, you know. Me personally, I didn't pay attention to it until a year ago. So, you know, what you see is me progressing in a year, what some people have been doing for 20 years. You know, I've just been given that position right now, or I took that position, however. But it's it's a fun, creative process. What you're doing here is creating art. I don't want to create, you know, labels like Band-Aids and you're going to fix yourself and, you know, all of that. Make this stuff look pretty because that's what's going to draw people's attention. You know, no matter what you make, no matter what you make, it will work because, you know, like I've said before, these, whenever you bend copper wire, you're moving those atoms around, okay? You can bend a piece of copper wire and you can feel the heat with your fingers, okay? You're moving those atoms around, and when you do that, you're creating a little magnet inside of there, and it starts to nano-coat, okay? Automatically when you start bending it. And, you know, that's even before you spray your caustic or dip it into your ash water or whatever, however you're doing your nano-coating, okay? So your intent when you make that thing is already stored, you know? The data is already stored into the crystalline structure of that copper. And your heart spoke that, okay? Right now, God is listening, as they call it, okay? So whatever your intent is, when you make a device, if you want it to heal the whole world, you can heal the whole world with your one device. And the whole world doesn't have to have your device, okay? But we needed 360 devices in order to make your ideas work around the globe, okay? Because we created that network, we created that bubble. And now, as you create more devices, your bubble interacts with that network, and you're adding more internet hubs, as I call them, okay, to this network of love and light and energy that we are creating right now, okay? And if you could visualize it and see it, you would be so proud of what you've done, even just thinking about, you know, making these infinity devices. You know, this is really a special time right now, and I can't wait for the summer solstice. Hurry up. You know, I'm just ready for my wings to be uncut, you know, unbound. I'm ready to fly. I'm ready to do this stuff. I'm ready to do all of the things that I want to be able to do, and I know that we're capable of doing, but I can't do it. Nobody can do it until the summer solstice, okay? Because that's when the timelines merge together. The save button gets hit, okay? And then we jump into a new timeline of the golden age and peace and love, without war, without oppression, without people being hurting, you know. But we have to go to the summer solstice part, and I've got short timers attitude. I'm just I'm ready. I'm tired of seeing this crap, and I know that they're going to try some stupid stuff in between now and then, and it's, you know, disheartening. I have to watch the news to find out what they're feeding the people, knowing that it's all done, it's all over with. Just a few more days now. It's fantastic. You're going to start seeing more and more people joining this effort, you know, not just ours, but, you know, individual groups. As these, our light workers start to become brighter and more confident, because as people seek answers, they begin to question things. And when they question things, they become a student rather than, you know, somebody with an opinion, you know. And when you realize that you're a student all the time, that just levels everything out. You know, I learned something from everybody, no matter who I talk to. Even when they ask me a question, I'm still learning. I may not know it at that particular time, but if they ask me a question, my brain spits an answer back out. And I'm like, hey, I just learned something new. Cool. You know, that's the way it works for me. And like I said before, sometimes it's a curse. It really is. But yeah, Caroline, I think you said you had some questions about the twisting and the turns and things like that, right? I can't hear you. Your microphone is muted.
Sorry, I forgot. So I know, you know, you get different reactions for some things when you twist. Some things it's important the direction. I don't know if all things are important the direction, for the health pen, does it matter which direction you're going? Have you found?
Um,
For
if you,
general healing, because I know if you're extracting from a tumor, you'd want the opposite. So I mean, I have that kind of idea there, but
it really doesn't matter unless you're
yeah.
using only a single wire. Okay.
Okay.
If you're using a single wire, then you're going to have different results than if you use the infinity devices, double helix or more.
Right.
Okay. That means if you've got 2 field interactions, 3, 4, 5 or more as part of your health pen. Okay. Once you bend it over, make it the double helix, okay, it acts automatically like a muscle. It starts to give and take automatically. So you have the gravitational and the magnetical built into one. So it really does not matter which way you twist it or turn it.
So like on quiche style pens, because I know your pen design are different. I really am looking forward to making one of yours. On the quiche design where you have 2 coils and then the straight wire, well, that's one of the designs going through. Do you know if that particular design matters about what direction you do your coils?
What he's calling his cache health pen happens to be the Android coil that I designed way back in April or February or whatever.
Cool.
So I mean, it's really a simple concept of, you know, you make yourself a long spring, okay, a coil. You take that spring and separate it right in the center, okay, bend it over, and then squish the coils together so that, you know, they just kind of feed back and forth.
Right.
All right. And it'll follow it all the way up. And if, depending on how long it is, it might actually kind of curl in a spiral. Okay. And now you've got the opposing coils. All right. That's what they call a Calcatus coil. I think the Calcatus, or I don't know how to say it. Okay. Somebody else pointed it out to me. I just made it one day. Yeah. And then they took another wire of some sort. Okay. I put a Trinity wire in the middle or bigger, and you connect both ends of the spring together. Okay. So now you've got a double coil with a spring or another coil right in the direct center. So it looks like a light bulb filament. Okay. That's the way that's what he's got made. All right. I use that. It's a capacitor. It's a pen. It's a, everything you can imagine, you know, it's got a lot of power to it. And, you know, it's really your creativity. It's your love. It's your energy that's going to make the difference. It isn't really the shape of, you know, what coil, whose is better, whose is doing what. You know, when you make your caustic and when you make your nano-coating, it's really about who's loving more, really. Because, you know, how bad do you want it? Is really the feeling that you got to summon, you know, is that energy is, you know, how bad do you want this? How bad do you want people to feel better? How bad do you want to make somebody smile? You know, how bad would you like to remove at least one distraction from their life? And if that's pain, then by all means, it's pain, you know, but that's a huge distraction to remove from somebody's life, you know? So you're fundamentally changing their life by removing their pain, you know? And if they don't like these little health devices and they're timid about it, you know, because, ooh, it might be black magic or whatever the hell they want to believe, okay? You can do the same thing with like extra virgin olive oil and Himalayan salt, the fine Himalayan salt. You know, I think my wife said it's 20 teaspoons of the olive oil with 10 teaspoons of the salt. Okay, you mix it together, you shake it together, and over a 24-hour or 48-hour period, you just shake it periodically. And then you rub it on the affected area within 4 hours of waking up in the morning. Okay, and it will remove your pain permanently. And what it's doing is it's detoxing your cells literally from the outside. It's like having a permanent Himalayan salt bath on your body all day, you know? So, you know, those are just different ways that you can do the same thing. So don't think that it's just limited to copper wire or, you know, the shapes of the copper wires. Okay. We're utilizing the forces of nature. Okay. That means that it already exists in nature. We just got to find it. If you can't find it, then you can recreate it. And that's what these devices are for, is to help you recreate those forces of nature that you desire or that you need. And, you know, people get really intimidated by the forces of nature, but I guess I've been controlling it for so long, I'm not that, you know, intimidated by it, or I understand that I can pull it up at will, you know, like the weather, for instance. You know, if you don't think you can, go play with the weather, make the clouds disappear. You know, you just have to visualize a hole in the clouds and they will change. You know, the easiest way that I've learned how to do that is to, you know, if everybody's got a radar system that they can watch, you know, when bad weather's coming. Okay. If you go to that radar and you can see when a storm is building, and you can see the reds, the yellows, and the greens, and the blues, and all those, right? Well, if you were to take that map and turn it this direction, all right, so that you're looking at it from the side view, the reds would be really tall, and the blues and the greens are really close to the surface. Okay, so that's how you turn this and make that into a 3D image. Okay. And so you can see the reds as being really tall, really thick. There's many layers of energy between the top of that cloud and the surface, and that's what creates the rain. Okay. As the moisture collects, it's falling through those clouds, and it's just collecting more and more, and your raindrops get bigger, more prevalent. Okay. If you change the radar image in your mind from a red to a green or a blue, you will change the weather in that location. Okay, because you are draining the energy out of it, especially if it's one of these HARP and man-made weather phenomenons that are going on. Okay, the energy will be gone, boom, just like that. And you guys may have remembered that Category 6 hurricane that almost slammed into Mexico, right? It went from a Category 6 to a tropical depression in a matter of 3 hours, which is unheard of. And there was no loss of life. And they're reporting all around the globe now that that was an act of prayer and meditation. You know, and I remember that night sending out a prayer to all my friends, you know, saying, hey, I need your help. We need to think about these people and bring it to the front of your minds, you know. And then the next day, you know, it was like, oh, there's no hurricane, because I went and checked, you know, there's no hurricane. I was like, okay, what's going on here? All right, hey, that worked. That's fantastic, you know. And so just the power of your thoughts. Try to visualize everything that you can before you build it, okay? Because remember, you're building it from the center outwards, all right? Especially when you're dealing with infinity. You're building what it looks like in the center of a star, if you can see the energy fields, okay? The twisting. That's what that is. That's how the energy travels. That's what it looks like, okay? But this is what it looks like at the nanoscale of things, okay? And now we've just taken it from the nanoscale and blown it up bigger. We've zoomed in on it, made it bigger to work with. Somebody have a question?
Mike, I just wanted to know how you make those infinity devices, and is that what you consider a key, like a bio key?
Yeah, it's the bio key is what you're referring to. The security lock is your imagination. Okay, the number of twists that are put into this device. Okay, the number of twists that are on the outside of this ring here. Okay, the number of field interactions can be replicated. Okay, so what you want to keep a secret, all right, is the number of twists. And it doesn't matter if you start out with a double helix wire and it's, you know, 20 feet long and you twist it, how many twists are in that? Nobody knows unless you're going to count them, you know, and I've done one that long, and there's, you know, there's a lot of twists. I don't want to count that. So, I mean, that's your security code, is your creativity. The longer the wire, the harder it's going to be to crack it, you know, and, you know, uncrackable because there's an infinite number of choices that can be made on your behalf, on, you know, being creative. There's an infinite number of choices, so therefore there is an infinite number of possibilities and outcomes. That's why the AI cannot break the code. Okay, and so, you know, it determines on the diameter of the wire that you're using, the length of the wire that you've cut off very specifically. Okay, how long you put it, you know, the end of your wire into the or the end of your drill. Okay, because that matters, because that determines the outcome on the number of twists. You see how many different variations there are that you could label and say you have to do it this way. Okay, and that's why I've tried to simplify it down and let people do what they do best, and that's be creative, you know. And when you make these devices, okay, they're all made the same way. Okay, every single one of them is made the exact same way. Okay, and I'll show you as soon as I find my copper wire. Here we are. And now I gotta open it. This is great. This is the kind of copper wire that I use. Okay, nothing real extravagant. This is 18 gauge. Okay, there's about 189 feet, they said in here. About 200 feet of copper wire that's bare. It's soft, it's easy to work with, and it's also stiff enough that it does exactly what I want it to do without being too flimsy and being too stiff to work with. Okay.
Can you make an IQ device with the 18 gauge?
Yeah, that's what I use, is 18 gauge on all my devices. You know, I've already got people that have tested out their vacuum cleaners and their hair dryers and all of these things running at the same time with the IQ device using 18 gauge wire.
Oh, fantastic.
So, you know, you got to remember that you're just adding an extension of wire to the hot wire. Okay, you're not crossing over anything until you plug in the device, or until you plug in your light, for instance. Okay, because you have to remember that your device is only hooked to the hot wire, and then you have the neutral wire, which is the return. Okay, so you've got electrons that are going to travel, go through your device, the IQ that you've made. Okay, and it's got to speed up so that it can catch up to where the light is being turned on. Right, in order to get the light to turn on and work right, it's got to catch up and do its job. All right, so we're manipulating that energy field by adding an extra 50 feet or so to your hot wire, and it creates an induction field around it. All right, well, when you nano-coat it, the induction field isn't an induction field, it's that energetic field that we're talking about. Okay, and that's what we're picking up on when you see these things, like, you know, this device here. Okay, that's the energetic field that you're picking up. Okay, it's picking up what it thinks is an alternating current field, right? Well, it is picking up an alternating current, but I'm not getting electrified when I put my hand back there, right? That thing has over 500 field interactions in it, right? It was overkill. I didn't mean for it to happen that way. It was just overkill. I just made it. All right, I got it. All right, you only need 360, and it completes a complete sphere. Okay, and when I was making that thing, when you have so many field interactions in there, that's what it's picking up, is it's cycling through all of the different fields that are inside of this bubble. Okay, remember I was telling you tried to stuff, you know, 79 pillowcases into one, right? Well, let's say this had 79 energetic fields in there. It's got to cycle through, okay? And that's what this is picking up, okay? And every time it switches from one field to the next, it switches polarity. And it therefore is alternating. And that's where you get the alternating current or the energy field. That's what it's picking up there, okay? That's why you're not getting electrocuted by it, because it's just picking up the alternating fields that are built into this little energy sphere that we've got here. Okay. Let's see if I can touch this. There you go. That's the transfer of plasma. It's kind of weird because I see the delay. All right. But that's what you'll end up doing is, you know, you'll touch your device. Okay. I know my entire body is covered when I'm holding this thing. Okay. My entire body is encased in plasma when that thing goes off. Okay. So now I'm getting fed. I'm going to put this down because it's annoying me. Okay. I'm getting fed right now because of my plasma device. Because I know that it's working. Even though I may not have the sensations in my body, I do. I'm a little bit more sensitive than most people. Okay. But this is how you can tell that your energy is flowing through your body. Okay. And into your body and feeding your cells. Stop it. Okay. So that's what you're going to end up doing with your device when you make it. Okay. But that's just one extension of the hot wire. You're not grounded. You're not, you know, there's no connection to the neutral until you put your plug into your adapter. Okay. I said a adapter. Let me get it all. Oh, I can't pick that one up. There we go. As soon as you plug it into this, okay, you've got your in and your out, right? That closes the circuit as soon as you turn the light on. As soon as the electricity is passing through and the light flashes on, okay, you've completed your plasma circuit, all right? I teach you how to make your devices, and I teach you how to build them backwards, all right? You have to understand that I'm teaching you deliberately how to build them backwards so that they can work in electronic devices. Okay? If you're trying to get a perfectly, you know, just a pure plasmatic device, you've got to just reverse your connections. Okay? I use red for negative, okay? Because red correlates with the red on the positive on a car battery. Okay? That's how I correlate the two. So for a DC circuit or a matter circuit, okay, or an AC circuit, we use the hot wire as referenced as red, okay? You would connect the red to the red, all right? That's how this works. Keep it as simple as possible. Connect red to red, okay? In a plasma device, you would actually connect it, the red to the black, to the negative side. Okay, if you want it to run plasma, because electrons move in one direction, okay? Actually, electrons move in one direction, okay? Plasma moves in the other direction, the opposite direction. So if you want plasma to work with electrons, all right, we have to build a device backwards to make the energy move backwards. So now it's pushing those electrons with it instead of kind of like fish swimming upriver. Okay, we're going to turn around and make the river boost them and they're going to swim downriver. Okay, and that's what we're making. And the fish in this reference is the electrons. All right, and that's how you get your devices to work. All right, and once you complete the circuit and it's all nano-coated on the inside, it becomes its own power source, guys. Okay, as soon as you complete that circuit and you let it run, it becomes its own power source. This is your house. This is your car. This is a generator if you want to use a generator, okay? Anytime that device is completely nano-coated and the energy is in a completed infinity circuit, okay, it's always there. It's always going to be happening, okay? You may not be able to feel it physically, but it's always there. Okay, which means it's always going to feed your body. It's always going to heal your body. It's always going to take care of your body. Okay, because it's in a constant update all the time. You know, kind of like your computer and it refreshes a screen or something like that. Okay, well, it's refreshing your screen every trillion times per second. Okay, That's how much it's refreshing your screen and feeding your body. So, like I teach with a lot of other people, you've got to learn to give unconditionally. Okay? If you can stop. I'm glowing, okay? Glowing. Where are you? Oh, there it is. Anyways, I'm glowing because it's picking up. This is not going to be easy here for this. The only problem that I've ever found with this wire is that they shrink wrap it. And it's such a pain in the butt to get off. It really is. And I always end up stabbing myself in my fingers, and I bleed for this wire. It gets me. But I'll show you real simply, real quickly, how easy it is to make one of these health wires, or these, health pins. I recommend the quad core for minimum on a health pin, okay? And there are several ways that you can do this. You want to add a little extra power to it, you can make it just like a capacitor ring, okay? Like you've seen maybe Stephan and some other people in my designs with the capacitor rings. Instead of turning it into a ring, you're just going to keep it a straight line. And as long as it fits into your little plastic pen device, you're going to have some very tremendous power coming out of the end of that to, you could even heal bones with it. That's the kind of energy that's coming directly from you through the pen. The pen is an amplifier, and then into the person that you're trying to heal and help. And it's just a vision of thought that is transferred. And when you realize this, you guys are going to be making all sorts of Harry Potter wands and things like that, because the wand really does choose its owner. It calls to them, and we have what we call ironwood here. So when a vine wraps around one of the branches, you get a spiral of where that vine was that grew into the wood. All right. And, I've gotten several branches out here. Like my wife's wand is a spiral of this ironwood, and it happens to be a very pretty sacred wood that's out here. It was like offered to us and given. And so when you're paying attention to nature, it's giving you everything that you need. I've even got a 5-foot tall infinity tree out here. It's literally a single base, and it comes out, and there's about a 4-inch stalk on both sides that comes out, and it twists in the center, and it comes back up and connects together in one trunk, like it was meant to be that way. And it's about 20 feet tall, and it's an American holly tree. And all right, I'll take it as a sign, guys. So I've got not only the knowledge of infinity, but I have living infinity here on my property. Yeah, it can be kind of intimidating on what are we going to do with it. I know. I'm doing it now. I'm ready to kick some ass and take some names. All right. When I was telling you about field interactions, I'm going to show you. Okay. One wire that you see here. Okay. I don't want you to represent this as a single wire here. Okay. Every time I bend this wire, it becomes a new wire. Okay. So I want you to think of it. And every time you bend this wire, it changes from a red to a blue. Okay. And then when you bend it back, it changes to a red. This is all you really need to visualize when you're doing this, is that how am I going to get the fields to interact the way I want them to. Okay. And I tell you, I would prefer you to use the quad core. Okay. Because if you've been following Cash, you understand what a starship formation is. Okay. That's the 3 base reactors, and then one on top is a peak, right? okay? That's 4 field interactions, okay? There are 4 ping pong balls or 4 reactors there, okay? That means that there are 4 field interactions that you're creating in the center, okay? Well, one wire represents one of those reactors, okay? One field interaction, right? So when you're doing this, however long your plastic container is, okay, we'll say it's, you know, as big as this thing, right? Okay. You can leave the tip a little bit longer, okay? I always have the spool off to my left, all right? I'm telling you guys this because this is the easiest way. It's not the best way, but it's the easiest way, okay? To always maintain the flow, okay? Because if you mess up the flow on here, then your device doesn't work right, okay? It either won't work at all or it just won't work right. And you'll be like, I'm getting sick, or maybe I got a blister, or, you know, whatever, okay? So we're going to start with 1, right? You're gonna bend it over 1, okay? Now you've got a bend on that end, okay? You've just created a double helix and it has 2 wires, 2 field interactions. One is red, one is blue, okay? One is attracting and one is pushing like a muscle, okay? This is the basis for everything you have to start from, right? No, everything starts from 1. You see? But now we're just going to change the directions of things, okay? So now you started out with red, we bent it over once, now it's blue, now it's red, right? Real simple. Now I've got it, this is, you know, about 8 inches long here, okay? This is the Trinity wire, as I call it, all right? There are 3 wires here. There are 3 field interactions. Trinity, that's the only, you know, woohoo, there's nothing real simple, you know, okay, or complicated here about all of this, all right? I'm just doing what's easiest, okay? Then the next one, you're going to bend it back over. I just pinch it where it's at, okay, where it's curved over, and then I let it bend, okay? Now I've got 4, that's the quad, right? Whenever you hear me reference the closed end, okay, that's this end right here. This is the closed end for any of the devices that we talk about. It is also the positive end, okay, or it would be the blue end of the overall device, okay, because everything has a polarity to it, right? And so if I'm referencing the positive end of a health pen or any kind of device that we're doing, it's the closed looped ends, okay? Wherever your wires come out, okay, that's your negative end, okay? And so if I was to have a Trinity wire, okay, there would be a wire, let's just take it out of here, okay? This wire would continue out this way, right? Well, since this is the long wire right here, this becomes the source wire. This is where the power is going to go in, okay? So this one's going in here. That means it's going to go in, travel through this wire, and then come out on this side, okay? So your in becomes the negative, all right? That's how you can determine between the Trinity and the quad core, all right? Because remember I just said that, you know, it's the wire where it's coming out, right? Well, I can't exactly tell you that and say, oh, well, look, you got 2 wires. When you clip this off, they're 2 ends. Yes, they're the same polarity, but what's happening is this energy is going to go through here. It's going to pass by itself, build up, and then shoot out the end, okay? And it collects on itself, and there's only 1 wire that it's collecting on, and there's only 1 wire that it's coming out of, all right? And that's what makes this so efficient, all right? And so when you're making the quad core, all right, now you've got 4 field interactions, okay? Nothing big, just 4. You take your drill, okay? I've got mine sitting here. so that it sits in my right hand, okay? My drill will be turning to the right, okay? Always. I don't ever twist it any other direction, okay? I always turn all of my devices to the right. That way I know anytime I pick up one of my devices in here, it's made the exact same way. Therefore, I can plug it in or put it into any of my systems the exact same way, and it will work the way it was intended. Okay? If you follow these simple rules, you will be able to do the exact same thing, and you'll have all sorts of crap that you don't know what to do with until later. All right? And as you come up with all your practicing, okay, because you're going to get home, you're going to be like, oh man, I got to make some stuff because this is so easy. You know, when we do that, you become creative. Okay, you start opening up those thought patterns in your mind that create the alpha waves we need in order to be a creator. All right, so what you're seeing me do here is I'm going to take the closed end, okay, and put that inside the end of the drill, and I'm going to close it down. Okay, cinch it down. It's still attached to the long wire, okay? I'm not going to disconnect it because I'm not finished, all right? Then you take this side and you hold it, okay, with the pliers, and then you twist it. Twist it to whatever makes you feel good, okay? Whatever looks good to you. Be creative, all right? And then from here, you'll notice I've still got all this extra wire here, okay? For the health pin, you can do one of two things here, okay? You can already have a nano-coated piece of wire, which means that you've dipped it in ash water or whatnot, okay? If you dip it in the ash water and you do this, perfect, it's fine, okay? Then you're going to get into this outer coil, okay? Remember what we were talking about as far as the Kesh pin coils where you have two opposing coils, okay? And then the pin down the middle, okay? We just put the pin, we just made the pin right here, okay? Now we're gonna put the coil around it, all right? And there's no air gap, which means that there's very little air gap, which means that there's no efficiency loss in energy transfer, okay? So you just slide your finger down, okay? Take your time, relax, just see how pretty this looks, okay? You're just hanging out there, nothing serious. Now, remember, you're moving your wire back in this direction, okay? What energy field moves to the right? Gravitational, right? Red. So now, every time it moves to the right, you got an image in your mind that this is a gravitational energy field, the whole length of this pin, okay? Had you come through halfway through this pin and decided to go back the other way on top of this wire, it would have turned to blue. It would have given you a magnetical energy, right? And then you go back over the top of that again. Now you've created layers, okay, of gravitation, magnetical, gravitational. So now you got a blue energy encased with two red energies around it, okay? You see how you can visualize the colors, all right? Just create you don't have to create the sphere anymore, okay? Because that's too much for us to think about. So you take the sphere and you cut a slice out of it, all right? And that's what we're creating, is that slice of the sphere here. We're not dealing with the whole sphere because the sphere will fall into place once this is all complete. It'll automatically complete itself because that's what light does, okay? And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go back the other way to create the magnetical energy, okay? The give and the take. right? It doesn't have to match up perfectly, but if you're, you know, anal like I am, you'll want it to. This device right here can be used in your home, okay? Or it can be used as a health pin, okay? Or it's the quad core, you know, for the capacitor rings. I always cut mine, okay, the wire that's the longest, okay, after I'm ready to cut it, okay? I always cut it longer than the other wire, okay? And when I cut it, after I'm done cutting it, I bend over this end and I make a loop, okay? Doesn't have to be fancy, but I make a little loop on there, okay? And that always signifies and identifies the source end, the positive end or the red end, okay? The one end that I connect to the positive side of the battery terminal, all right? That's why I do that. And you don't ever have to worry about it. Now, you've got a quad core pin, okay? This is more like a quad core baseball bat. You don't need a, you know, this much, but you know, you can utilize this for a lot of things. If you cut your wires, all right, I don't want to cut these wires, but if you're to cut these particular wires, you cut one a little bit shorter than the other one, okay? You don't want them to be the same length because there's an energy field between the two of them, okay? And it's searching between tips, okay? Hell, I'll cut it. I really got to show it to you because it's important. It creates the potential difference, okay? When you see how the tips are staggered, okay, or stair-stepped, okay, you have to imagine that there's a small infinity loop, okay? Mr. Kesh showed this in some of his videos, that there's a small infinity loop that's going from that tip, okay? There's one circle around that tip and one circle around that tip, okay? And where they meet in the middle, it's creating a light energy that you can't see, okay? Now, when you put that close to the body, okay, and let's see if I can do this right, okay, you put it close to the body there, your body is now taking that energy from the tip of this pen and attracting it to itself, okay? So it's actually pulling that little infinity light that's in there that you can't see to interact with your body, all right? And that's where it gets the give and the take. And that's why it only takes a few seconds for you to feel relief, okay? Now, on top of that, you've created all sorts of energy flow because of the number of twists that you put in here and the number of coils, right? So think of this like a photon gun, right? Or a photon flashlight. The end of this wire is your flashlight beam, okay? One is going in and the other one is going out, okay? The finishing or the first wire that you have on there, the shorter wire, okay, is the going out. That's the flashlight beam, okay? You have to actually think of it like a laser beam, all right, that is always on, okay? And it's always penetrating whatever it's pointing at, okay? There's nothing besides another plasmatic wall that can stop this energy, okay? So think of it like a very pinpoint X-ray machine, okay, where it's passing through all that kind of stuff, but you don't have all the harmful effects, right? When this is nano-coated, and let's say you use potassium hydroxide, okay, or KOH in with your mix, and sodium hydroxide, and this will turn shiny, shiny, pretty black, okay? It steals potassium electrons, okay? It's an electron thief, Okay. And so when you're pointing it at your hands, okay, or the acupressure points that they show on the internet, okay, if you put it in those points right there, you want to use little circles, okay, because what you're trying to do is you're trying to draw a line basically around that nerve that's hurting, okay, and steal the electron from it. And when you do that, you're effectively taking like a pair of scissors or nano scissors and severing the electrical connection between that pain and your brain. Okay? And if you have an excess amount of electrons that are firing in your brain, okay, it'll cause you more discomfort. Okay? So you would have an inflammation somewhere, you know, like some people get, you know, swollen glands or sores on their skin or, you know, things like that. Okay. Sometimes those things are caused because there's more electrons firing on a neuron in the brain than it's supposed to be. Okay. You know, let's say, for instance, you know, a neuron is only supposed to fire one electron. Okay. It only fires once in order to send the pain signal, right? Well, all of this aluminum and all of this crap that we put into our bodies, the processed sugars and things like that, they attach to the neurons, okay? The aluminum gives away its electrons freely that's in the air. That's why we use it for energy devices, right? So you've got all this stuff that's in your brain, and now you've got a neuron that's firing 15 times, and it should only be firing once, okay? Well, that firing of 15 times at the same time is like reprogramming or rerouting the energy. Where is it going to go? Okay. And that's why people will get fat, you know, or obese, because when they eat their food, it's the electrons are firing a different point that says, hey, I'm going to send this to your butt, or hey, I'm going to send this to the inside of your big toe. You know, that's where you get warts from. That's where you get, you know, anything, you know, like a sickness. Okay. And so what these pins are doing is that they're taking, and it's like a little straw in your body, okay, that's taking your nerve energy, it's sucking it out and spitting it back at you, okay, filtering. It's laundering your soul. That's a good way to put it. It's laundering your soul, all right? But what's happening is it's just bringing balance back into your body, okay, and it's making you feel better, and it makes you so that you're not sick anymore. Okay, you're sick because you have an excess amount of electron energy or negative energy inside of your body. That's what's feeding the sickness. Okay, if it's balanced, that means it's neutral. There's not enough energy there to feed or to kill. It's just balanced. It's just there. Okay, well, that's where duality comes in. You have a positive and a negative, right? Well, our bodies are changing to the point now that it's all going to get rid of the negative energy or the need for negative energetic fields in our body and replace it completely with the positive energy field. And we purge everything out of our bodies. And that's what you're going through right now. You're feeling physically hurt and ill and, you know, I just got ran over by a truck. You know, that's how it makes you feel. Okay. And when you understand your emotions relating to the energies that are coming in now, okay, and the soreness and why, okay, when you have the answer to why, you can move on to another question, okay? That means that you've found a solution and you're moving forward and you're progressing. And a lot of people are just, you know, they're just now coming into that ability, you know? So, all right, I can shut up now. My head is it steaming? You're eager participants. I can feel the energy of you guys really wanting to understand it, even the ones that are not on camera. You know, I see your responses. You're shaking your heads and their smiles and the reactions, and I can see your auras, and I appreciate that. You know, it's a wonderful feeling. It really is.
Yeah, Mike, I feel like I understand it in a whole different, I'm not saying I understand everything, but what you described just now with the pen really helped me line it out in my head. and as far as like especially the different fields that we're making. So there's on the pen there, it's your choice, right? You just, like you're talking about the quad core because that creates the star formation.
Yeah, the star formation is the three-sided pyramid that is enclosed.
Mhm.
Okay, that means that you can have the three-sided pyramid and have the four sides to encompass a plasma. Okay, so when you use the quad core, you're actually encompassing the plasma inside of it. Okay, that means that this by itself is a very powerful device. Okay, and it doesn't have to be hooked up to anything in order for it to work right, because the plasma is working by itself. It's self-containing. Okay.
So that fourth, like a cap, were you describing how you can you have the three base and the fourth is like a cap to keep the plasma inside?
Yes,
It's okay.
The three on the bottom connect together. Okay, and if you think of like the movies, for instance, for visual effects, like some of the X-Men movies, all right, or Thor and Loki. Okay, when they put Loki in one of his the force field rooms to lock the gods inside. Okay, that's the kind of energy that we're working with. Okay, is that kind of a force field energy. And the easiest way to visually describe it is to get yourself some soap bubbles, okay, and like some string or whatever, and make the soap bubbles, okay, with your fingers. And you can see, if you just sit back and look at it, using a rubber band works really well too, because you can adjust the size of it. Okay, but you can see where the soap will wrap around your finger. All right, and you'll see the way it's attached and how imperfect it is. Okay, when it's right next to it, but it still creates a seal that is strong enough to withstand the atmosphere. Okay, and that's what we really want to look at, is the imperfections, the uniqueness of people, the creativity. Okay, and you'll see, if you dip your finger in with the rubber band on it, you can see the bubble wrap around your finger, and then it wraps around the surface of the rubber band, right? And if you move it back and forth, you can see how it fluctuates. Okay, this is how plasma moves. Okay, and when you create a nano-coated device, that kind of a film encompasses those coils. Okay, that's what's encompassing this when it's nano-coated. Okay, and it's a film that you can wipe off, and you can blow away like a smoke almost, because it's light. Okay, and that's why you want to put it inside of a plastic container. Okay, it's so that the plasma has a container to fill up in. Okay, and it's just going to sit there, and it's going to constantly cycle through it, and every time you use your device, it's going to transfer the energy. Okay, think of Harry Potter and the magic wands, and all of that stuff, because that's what this stuff is. It's magic as we know it by video. Okay, it's that mentality. The visual effects that they put in there are fantastic for using for your meditations. Okay, every human being on this planet is 50 billion times stronger than the worst villain on Harry Potter. Okay, because you have an imagination. Whatever you can think up, you can create. And we still have not gotten to that point yet. And because we have this virtual reality within a virtual reality in our brain, okay, we have got a self-containing science lab, so to speak, okay, that gives us the ability to create in our minds without having the side effects, okay, or the unintended consequences before we actually create them. That's why I say build it in your mind. What's your desired outcome first, okay, and then draw it on paper, okay, or sometimes you'll make it first like this, okay, and then draw it based off of what you see. Okay, when you draw it, you literally have to draw every wire. Okay, and when you're drawing it, you're tracing in your mind where the energy is traveling, one piece at a time. Okay, wherever it's going to flow with your pencil or your pen, all right, that's how the energy is going to be. All right, you're leaving a trail of where the energy has been whenever you make a pass with your pencil or your pen, right? The energy's already been there. That's what's creating the line. Well, that's what you got to think about this with the copper wire. Okay, when you add the copper wire, it's like adding an ink line. Okay, you're drawing with a pen. All right, think about this. I'm trying to pick your brains here, girls. Okay, you're drawing, you're using the copper wire like the pencil lead or the ink that comes out of your pencils, okay, and your pens. You're drawing it the exact same way that it will be created when the light passes through it for the first time. Okay, because it's all one, it's going to start from one end. And if you think of like Christmas lights, all right, how they're all in series, okay, if you could watch it or slow down the electrons, you would see that it would go bing, 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 bing. Okay, but it happens so fast, you plug it in, it looks like it turns on all the time. They're all at the same time, right? Well, that's the same way these pens work and all of these devices. Okay, when it's in infinity, it's got to start somewhere and pass through all of this mess that we've created. Okay, and you know that it's just creating a much bigger, much longer energy field. Okay, and condensing it down into this tiny little pen. Okay, that's all we're doing here. On these ends right here, Kiki and Crystal have been, they're from Europe. They're the ones going to France. They put a crystal on the end of this. Okay, like they had little crystal balls, rocks, and things like that. Okay, they were making devices that had 8. Okay, so there was four prongs on the end here. Okay, and they just put the rock on the inside of that, and then they hot glued it. Okay, or the crystal of some sort. Okay, you're drawing the energy from the positive end. Okay, the positive end is pushing out an energy field. Okay, that's going to encompass that rock. Okay, or that crystal. When it encompasses it, that means that it's going to read the information that is on the surface of that rock, translate it into light, and shoot it out the end of this pen. Okay, and that's how you can utilize anything you want as a power source or an add-on, or to help intensify your intent, that kind of thing. So
are you saying then too that we could just dip that in ash water and it'd be nano-coated?
That's correct. Ash water and will nano-coat anything. Okay, on some of my previous videos that you guys will see, I've got drawings where it shows the surface of the copper wire. Okay, and it looks smooth and shiny to us, but when you get down into the nano size of things, I mean, there's some huge valleys, okay, in the surface of that copper wire. Okay, well, those little valleys and those grooves that are in there are bigger than the nanomaterials. They actually fill in those cracks with all of the nanomaterials from the ash. Okay, and that's how it starts. Okay, and then it creates a magnetic field because you used water, which turns anything magnetical, right? You bent the wire, which made it hot, okay, which means that it was giving out more energy. So now you have two magnetical energies, okay, combined there with a negative polarity, two positives with a negative. You see, you've created a small imbalance. And now all of that is going to be attracted, is going to create more balance by attracting another negative polarity to it constantly. And that's why it nano-coats by itself. Okay. So yes, the ash water is good. I have not had the best experience with it. Okay. Because I still got zapped off of my unit. Okay. but I was standing barefoot in, water because I was running from the rainstorm. Okay. And I came in to grab my unit. And so I was standing on a nail, my barefoot and wet when I touched it, and my fingertips started buzzing before I ever actually touched it. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm not going to touch it. So I've decided that I'm just going to go ahead with
The caustic.
using the caustic solutions just to be sure, because that way I know when somebody touches their unit, they're not going to have it. Okay. This right here is done with ash water. All right. And I don't have any issues on it whatsoever. Okay. So I can't say that one way is better than the other. You know what I mean? It's all being nano-coated. I can see it all the way down to the atomic level. And, it all does the same exact thing. So maybe that day that energy field was just super strong and I felt it, I don't know for sure, but I know that this one's working just fine here, and my other one is not. So I'm just going to end up using caustic just to be sure, make sure that I've got everything taken care of. And, I know that my kids are going to be touching this. I know that my animals might be touching this. I know that people that I don't know might be touching this. So I want to just be sure that it's insulated properly, my own peace of mind, and of course, I'm making my own caustics. So, there's always something special in there. I've figured out recently that the Pleiadians use mushroom and Gans. They use mushroom spores and Gans to create their gigantic ships. They actually grow them in space. They'll grow the hulls, and the hull is energetically connected to only the captain. Okay. And so the captain is completely aware of everything that happens on the ship. The second that it happens, it's like growing an outer skin. Okay. You think of your body, okay, and you're out in space, you get touched, right? It activates that signal in your brain. It says, hey, you're being touched. Well, the same thing happens out in space. Okay. So when you get your spaceship, hey, I'm being touched. Why am I being touched? Okay. It could be an energetic field that might be, you've got 200 miles out there, 200,000 miles, or 200 million light years, whatever. Okay. If somebody or something touches that field, you're going to feel it like you would on your skin. Okay. That's the sensations that you have to start to remember now in our bodies that are going to control your ship. Okay. As we build these things, you're going to realize just how simple it is. Okay. We can't build one yet, but we got a week. Okay. So that's why I'm looking at it. A week is the timeline shift, and we don't have to worry about any of it. And, if something is to happen, you've got no fear because you already have the tools. Okay. The emotional trigger is going to tell you what to do. Okay. And that's what's really going on if you do have an earthquake or you do have something, in your area. Okay. Is that it's an emotional trigger for the humans to wake up. Okay. It's coming. Okay. You're mentally prepared for it. Okay. Where I am in Texas. So if you happen to, get lost along the way, head to Texas. I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of people heading to Texas. All right. But it's going to look like it's going to get worse or as bad as it could possibly get. And then it'll turn around so quickly. You'll be like, that was a dream. Okay. We literally have to wait to the very second of the summer solstice to happen before they can make any changes. And then as soon as, like the day after, I think they're planning for disclosure of some ships.
That's like 5 days from now.
Yeah, well, start getting your cameras ready because I think it's going to be a sky show, honestly. There's going to be no denying that there is intelligent extraterrestrial life that has been visiting planet Earth for a very long time. I know that I'm part of this in some way. I don't know if I'm actually going to be there when, or they're going to make contact with me or whatever, you know, and I introduce them, but I know that I am part of that introduction like I am now, you know. I'm warning you, I'm giving you a warning that the sky is going to be filled with spaceships here soon, okay? So don't be freaking out if you see it, okay? There was some stories that were going around about a false flag attack from holographic images of spaceships, okay? And there still is the possibility of that happening, but I believe that they've dismantled all of those little
Projectors? Or?
yeah, those projectors of those scenarios. They've taken those grids out, okay? I see this world as layers, kind of like a Photoshop picture, okay? So there's a whole bunch of layers that are going on, and they're going through and picking out the different layers and deleting those programs from this matrix, okay? And one of them was a layer that was the ability to connect to source, okay? And if you connect it to source and it sent you to a false Akashic records, boom, it would send you over here, and your prayers would basically be bounced off of this grid that was overhead and fed back into you know, like the Twin Towers or, you know, some other place, okay, that it was just redirected. But all of those grids, all of those layers have been removed, you know. Even the bugs, okay, all of the bugs that bite people, okay, those are energetic layers of programs that were installed into this matrix to reduce our vibration, you know. The
Flies
planet,
been landing on my face every morning.
yeah, you know, they've been ramping it up, you know. But those are all little programs that are going to get pulled, you know. There shouldn't be anything feeding off of humans, fleas, you know, anything like that. Well, we're removing the whole food matrix program, you know, but you can't do it all at once, okay? So you got to do the transition, and the transition part is starting probably on the solstice. There will be a drastic diminition in meat consumption. Okay, I mean, it'll just drop off a lot, and you're going to see a massive pileup of meat in like the grocery stores because they're not going to keep up with it. Okay, well, we still have to feed the poor. Okay. So that massive amount of meat that's going to be built up in those grocery stores is going to be reduced down in price. Now you have abundance, okay? And now you can feed those homeless people for, you know, $1 a pound or whatever it is for this meat that's going to be out there. The intention changes when there's a pileup of meat versus there's a need for meat, okay? So the energy that is being stored in the animals, okay, when they're killed, the intent is being changed by those that are doing the packaging, okay? When they freeze it, which most of the time it is frozen, the intent or the emotion of the animal gets saved into the meat, okay? The preparer of the meat, after it's been de-thawed, then changes again the intent, okay, or the energy of that animal. So if you're making some good food for your family and you're happy about it, you're making your favorite dish, okay, you won't be able to eat it, okay? Your family will be starving for protein, okay, because you're cutting protein and meat out of your diet. And you're like, oh, I can't do this, all right? So you have to have another supplement or they're going to like crash really hard, okay? There's a lot of plants and stuff like that for the protein supplements, okay? But now you're going to have all these grocery stores with all of this extra food, all right, that we should not waste. Because we've identified it, even though we've identified it as having toxins in it, okay, being mentally aware changes the chemistry in your body so that it will reject the glyphosate or whatever that's inside of this food. Okay. Sometimes that affects and changes into you're going to wake up with an acidic stomach and you're going to throw it up. Okay.
Yeah.
Your body will only take what it can handle and it will reject everything else. It will no longer pass through your body. I am firsthand experiencing that right now. Okay. Because
Yeah. It's
I'm
been
a
making,
cowboy. I still eat meat, you know. And, you know, this morning I woke up and I had some pizza last night, you know, and I woke up and my stomach was complete acid. And as soon as I threw it up, it was almost like it was encased, okay, and, you know, contained, because it was done. It was over with. And as soon as it was out of my body, I felt better.
Yeah.
It was like it never happened. And I'm like, all right, don't eat that. Note to self, don't eat pizza anymore. Man, well, I've been reduced down to nuts and berries, guys. Okay, peanut butter and jelly. So there's a lot of things that people are saying here. Yeah. But yeah, the energy, we're going to cut out meat. Okay. A lot of the light workers, all right, not the whole population of the planet. The animals were put here under contract to feed us. The plants were put here under contract to feed us. Okay. They're not a sentient being. They're not a creature of creation. All right. Which means that they can't create the world around them. That's what I'm trying to say here. It doesn't mean that they're not friends. Doesn't mean that they're not caring, loving creatures. Okay. They just cannot physically create the reality around them like we can. Okay. There are some that are smarter than others, more evolved, things like that. We know this. Okay. Most of them are cats, which cats, the feline energy is one of the first energies actually introduced as a life form. Okay, they're the closest ancestors that we have energetically are cats. That's why we're drawn to them. That's why they were revered by the Egyptians, as well as their purring abilities. If you want to know what a neutrino sounds like, it's the sound of a cat's purr. Okay, that clicking, the purring sound is actually creating a reverberating effect that bounces off of your cells and is responded back by the animal, okay, or the cat. And when it's doing that, it's filtering. It's giving you love, and it's transmuting the negative energies around you into positive. That's why they were revered as gods, because they transmute energy automatically. And, you know, when we open up our little sanctuary out here, little healing school, I don't even know what people want to call it now. It's going to have a spa, you know, soaking rooms for fully submerged in seawater Gans to heal body. We'll have healing chambers with nano-coated walls and specific energies being put into them. We'll have little stations for like the Tesla coil, not Tesla coil, but the two IQs on either side, like the rifle machine, okay, where you touch it, you put yourself in the center, okay, and yourself the light bulb, okay, the filament. And when you do that, your whole body fills up with this energy, and it's like blowing hot air inside of your body and over pressurizes your body, which is all the crap from the inside, okay? That's the way it works. I want water parks that will be spraying the energized water everywhere, so that when kids come and they have a place to play, okay, now they're playing in, it's referred to as holy water, you know, in the Bible. It's true holy water because it's energized and it's feeding my intent, you know, it'll feed your intent. And so that's what I mean by when we're trying to make a completely plasma community, is that everywhere they go, they're able to have fun, be creative, and be fed all the time. You know, they'll be in an energetic field all the time, whether it's a little infinity device or the IQ, or they're playing in the water. You know, it's the concept of this being without being forced to be there. You know, if you have free electricity and you can take it anywhere you want on the planet, where would you go? If you didn't have to worry about, you know, how am I going to get the power lines down here? How am I going to get the plumbing down here to get water from the city, who's the only place that can give me water and the only place that can give me electricity? You know, how can you, where would you go? If you never need water from anybody else, you can get it yourself, okay? Whether it's from a stream or a river or something, or even your own devices, and you don't need electricity and you don't need a doctor, where are you going to go? What are you going to do with that? You know, what kind of adventure would you plan for yourself? You know, sit and think about that tonight when you're getting ready to go to bed, because that's part of the meditation when you move into the alpha state. And that's the creator frequency, right before you get drowsy enough to fall asleep. Okay, you're just drowsy enough to make your eyes heavy, but your brain is so busy that you can't go to sleep. You're aware of everything going around you. If when the cats knock something off the counter, you know, without even seeing it, you know it was your cat because it was there. You're aware of everything. Okay, and then you get drowsy to the point your eyes close. That's when you get into the creator alpha state. Okay, I need you guys to visualize that there are 3 other people just like you. Okay, when you make an IQ device or you make one of these health pens here in this reality that we're in, because this is the conscious one, those other 3 have to make it too. They have to make it, because in order for it to exist here, all 3 of those timelines have to match up. Okay, they're not completely merged yet. So as you're making it now, they're making it in the other 3, which is connecting your soul together. All right, therefore you have 4 of you. Okay, that is in a starship formation. You have become a creator. Think of yourself as the energy in that when you're meditating or you get into that alpha state. Okay, visualize that energy in the center of that pyramid. Okay, that's your soul. Okay, you can go to the center of that, and that's what they call the God space, or the center of a hydrogen, or whatever it's called. Okay, if you go and you travel in your mind inside the center of that, you have just traveled into a stargate. Okay, you can go anywhere you want. What's on the other side of that stargate? Okay, these open those stargates so that your soul, you can bypass your mind and your mouth or somebody else's, okay, and talk directly to their heart. And all you're doing is taking away their pain. You're taking away one single distraction in their whole life. Okay, that doesn't mean you have to go back every week. It only takes once. Okay, and it's like you're undoing the programming in their brain by helping them. Okay, you don't have to tell them what you're doing. Okay, except that you're taking away their pain. Little do they know that you are unlocking their soul from this matrix so that they become aware. Okay, just by helping them out. Okay, so you take your worst enemy and you want to make them a better person. Go take away their pain. Okay, even if they don't like you, give them an infinity device, a little 8. Okay, it does the same thing. All right, I can talk to you guys all night. It's 11 o'clock here. You guys are just, I love it.
So do you want to do the Friday at the same time?
We can, that's fine.
Or do you think it's too soon, or?
What we need to do is need to get everybody all introduced, you know, with each other. We need to pick roles on who is going to do what, and who we can expect to get those accomplished. Okay, these are all volunteer roles. Okay, I can't very well get mad at you if you don't do something. Okay, but I won't ask you anymore to do something if you can't follow through with it, you know? And that's just a common respect thing for a volunteer organization. You know, if you can't do something, anybody that's listening to this, just let us know, because there's somebody else that can always fill in that spot, you know, even if it's just a temporary spot. And, you know, like right now I've got Dora and Lori and Ross and Anuj. Those guys are the ones that are taking care of my recording needs. You know, Ross will take care of the YouTube for the other side of the world. Okay. And then, you know, Anuj takes care of the YouTube for this side because, you know, it works for their schedules.
We have a regular meeting on Monday, and that might be a really good time to catch more of the group. Because they're, what do you think about that, Yazmin, too? That maybe as far as everybody being able to participate and say, well, I can do this part, that might be better.
Yes,
Okay.
I think Whitney is pointing out that, yes, on Mondays, we, all these ladies agreed to be there. So yes, it will be very nice that you can be there.
Well, what time is your guys' meetings? Because I always have my meetings at 4:30 or 4 o'clock Central Time, which is 2 o'clock, I think, your guys' time.
Well, for me, Central Time, I am Central Time too. I'm in Texas.
All right.
We're doing them at the same time we did it tonight. But is that too
so
late? I mean, this is, because we did that for the Australia crew too, because there's a couple people, or at least one in Australia, other than Ross.
Okay. Well, however, you guys work it out, you know, because there's more of you than there is of me. I'm a lot more flexible than in, you know, trying to make a whole group bend to my will. This is not how it works here. But I want to be able to, you know, have as much participation as possible, especially in the live ones, because there's a lot of people that are not able to watch it because the video didn't upload right, or there's no audio this time or on that link, or, you know, and it's just, I'm so tired of this.
Yeah.
So the more people that we have with it, then, you know, the easier it is to gonna get the word out there.
Let's schedule that for Monday too then. And it doesn't have to be, depending on what you're feeling, it doesn't have to be the whole, you know, 2.5 hours. It can be 30 minutes, an hour, or
however
something.
long you guys want to sit and listen to me. Because you're taking up time that I would be yakking at my wife, and I usually get this. don't, no.
And we need numbers to get in, right? Since I'm new to the Zoom thing.
You just need the ID number that I sent.
Same one every time, in other words?
Yeah, it's the same one every time.
Okay.
You know, you can check in periodically. Sometimes I'm just sitting in here and working on my stuff. You know, I don't have the camera on. The way I see it is you know, this service is being paid for by donations. Okay. And the donations that they want, that, you know, this service that they're asking for is for me to show them how to do this stuff. And if I'm online and I'm in here, then I'll be making something. I'll be happy to ask questions, you know. I tried to do it with making a little post about it, like on the Infinity Project page and my page, but then they were showing up like 3 hours after I posted them, you know, instead of showing up when I posted them and saying, hey, I'm online now, why don't you come and join me, blah, blah, blah. The post won't show up until 3 hours later. And then when people come check, oh, you just posted this, you know, I'm not there. So now it's starting to dig into my credibility, you know, as far as, are you going to be online? Are you not going to be online? You know, and sometimes that makes all the difference in catching somebody's attention span, you know, to work with this stuff. And, you know, that's really all we're working with here at the Infinity Project, is we're making things so simple that people's attention is going to fall here, because when you utilize people's attention span as like a plasma, okay? Plasma follows the path of least resistance, and simplicity is the path of least resistance. So the simpler we make it, the more people that will come and learn to make this stuff for us and with us, and then go teach their neighbors. So how about my crew, my normal crew? Are you guys okay with Monday evening?
I'm fine with it.
And Nuge says, what about 6 p.m.? So instead of 6:30, 6 p.m. Pacific?
It would be 6 p.m. here. Is that what you want? 6
Yeah,
p.m. Central Time, Anush?
8.
He goes by Central Time because he's over in New Jersey.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah, 6 p.m. Central Time, which would be 8 o'clock your time, or 8 o'clock. Oh, my God, I hate this. Time sucks.
That, yes.
So many time zones to try to think.
We just stick with one and just say Central. Everybody can figure it out, you know.
All right.
We've been doing that with the, okay, I'll find out from the group. I don't, maybe we'll post that time and see what they say about
What time
it.
do you guys want to do it? That's my question. What time do you guys want to
I
do it?
think it's flexible because we just have started doing it at 6:30, you know, Pacific, but it doesn't mean it can't be a different time. So the groups, everybody's pretty flexible. We'll just put it out there.
If you do it 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. on Central Time, or not Central Time, on Pacific Time, okay? That means
6 p.m. Central Time is 4 p.m. Pacific.
right, it's 4 p.m. So that's when I start teaching anyways. So that would be perfect.
That'd be perfect.
If you guys could start it at, you know, at 6 p.m. your time, 6:30 your time would be fine too. You know, we could get started, and then we'll just have this as one big group on Mondays. Okay, we can start dividing tasks up. I know there was a group before that wanted to work on water decide. You know, well, we didn't continue on. I still have the water reactor here. Okay, but we had to shift into other knowledge and understanding before we could move back into the water reactor. Okay. And, you know, we'll get back to the water reactor part, but now we got to do something about batteries. Okay. Learning how to reuse batteries. Okay. Car batteries, D batteries, C batteries, things like that, because those are the things that are going to be already purchased. For one, they've already got them most likely. And it's something very easy that they can work on themselves. But I got to come up with different options other than just copper tape. You know, if we use copper wire, you know, all those kinds of things. Those are the kinds of ideas and creativity that I need from everybody in a group. You know, you might decide that, hey, I want to work with the batteries for this week. Okay. And then we come back next week and say, okay, this is what we figured out in our group with these batteries. Okay. This is what we can do. These are the results that we got. Can you explain it? I don't understand it. Or, man, I figured this shit out. You know, bing, light bulb goes off and we're excited, you know, and that's the way it should be for all of us. I think this right here, okay, where it's alternating, okay, where you got one that goes over the top and then one goes over the other. When I see this, I see an all-encompassing plasma device. Okay, that's what I see with this. But I need people to test it. I need people to try it out. I need you guys to see it first before I explain it. Okay, that's really the point here. I need you to. I don't want to. If I do this, then I'm affecting free will. Okay. And I can't do this. That's why I give you the examples and I show you. It's not nano-coated. Okay. But I give you the descriptions on how it's doing it okay? You have to do this on your own and show the experiment, okay, on what you've done in order for it to be saved, okay? I don't know how else to explain it in my brain, okay? I can bring it to you. Kesh can bring it to you, okay? But you have to create it on your own. We're just showing you the different shapes, okay, on the way that this can be utilized, okay? Whether it's a spiral, you may not see this, but these two C shapes here create a spiral, a toroidal field, okay? Even though it's flat the way it is, if you go down to the atomic structure of this right here on the surface of that copper wire, when it's nano-coated, it looks like a barber pole of energy that's swirling on the surface, okay? And so how are you going to utilize that kind of stuff? It's the water, it's the electricity, it's the food Gans, okay? I'm about to start making food Gans as far as a series so that we can, you know, show people. I'm just going to keep repeating the same thing over again on a little short series of making food Gans, and then utilizing the water off the top of that, okay? Because it's the same thing. You want to make steak? Grind it up. Put it in some salt water. Turn it into a brine, okay? That's really what it does. It breaks down into the nanomaterials of it, okay? Like you've digested it in your stomach. And now your body can absorb the energy from that water. Just like you had just eaten it. You know, that's just exactly how we're going here. We're losing meat, okay? Then you're going to go to a vegetable and a fruit diet, okay? And then you're going to cut off from that vegetable and the fruit diet, and you'll move into a liquid only diet, okay? Which is your food Gans, okay? The water of your Gans. Okay, now you're only drinking the energy of this. You're not eating or consuming any more food. You're no longer putting it into your body, okay? So you're not going to get the harmful effects of all of those sugars and all of those extra electrons and crap that's in your food. Your body's going to change, okay? Your blood is going to change to a different color, from red to a green. You're going from an iron base to a copper base. Okay, because you're no longer consuming food, all right? You're absorbing it. So if you want to think about it, it's kind of like eating pre-digested food already, okay? But without all the stomach acid, okay? It's just water. Our stomach acid is created to break the food down, okay? But that's pretty much what you're doing, is you're breaking down food into its nanoform like it's pre-digested. Okay, and you're taking the energy off of that, and instead of it passing through your body, those nanomaterials, okay, that's what's passed through your bloodstream, the energy caps off all these little electrons. You know, it's kind of like I picture like an electron going by, or an energy bubble going by, and giving the wall of your vein a high five as it passes by, you know, the spot where it needs to be. It's like, hi, how you doing? Boom, yep, you're fed. Boom, you're fed. Boom, you're fed. You know, that's the way I picture it as it's running through the veins, okay? It doesn't actually get absorbed into your body. It's just the energetic field, okay? And then what's left over is the matter that we excrete. You know, we go to the bathroom, okay? Or you get sick, okay? Whatever comes out of your body is the leftover stuff, okay? Well, you're not going to have any leftover stuff. Just water, just liquid, okay? But you're going to feel full. And hopefully, as we work together and we put our minds together correctly, we can make one of these health cups that you can actually taste what a steak looks like, you know, what a steak tastes like just by drinking water, you know, that kind of thing. So, and he says, so are we going to build water reactors to help people still have problems with water in different countries? Okay. The IQ covers the water reactor. All right. It is the water reactor for the body. All right. Now, all they have to do is build 368 field interactions, which encompass it completely. Okay. That means that you're going to get the full spectrum of life to include water and everything else that's included in that. Okay? Creating these water reactors is attracting water to a central location. Okay? That's the difference here, is that this one should, when it's hooked up to the IQ or your intention correctly, can't do it until after summer solstice. It should create a constant drip. All right? That's my goal here. And once it creates, or it may not even be a constant drip, it might be a constant expansion of water. Okay, because that's the way water will expand or create more water. You're actually expanding it from the center outwards. Okay, so it's kind of like taking a straw and blowing one big air bubble in the center. Okay, and you can watch it billow out from the center, right? Well, imagine if that was all water. Okay, and it was just constantly repeating itself. It's going to expand and flood and fill, and I have lots of visions of this stuff. I'm just trying to make it all happen at once. And then when they tell you you're being blocked, or no, you can't do this yet because you're going to screw up the timeline, or all that kind of stuff, you got to dance on that line. So I know it feels like it's going to be a pretty strange upcoming event. To me, it's normal. I've been doing this for a year going, hey, it's coming, it's coming. I've been that guy in the cardboard going, the end of the world, repent. It's not that simple anymore. But it is to just be nice, to be caring, to be loving.
Yeah.
And I had one high school student, I think he's like 17, maybe 18 years old. And he talks to me quite a bit, but he wants me to hold his hand the whole way. And I can't, because he's at the very beginning and I'm way at the very other side of that spectrum. And me trying to jump from one to the other to get to continue. He just asked me, well, what should I do now? And I just told him, I said, go out and be kind. Go make a difference in somebody else's life, period. If you see somebody who doesn't have shoes and you've got 2 pairs of shoes, go give them one. Or if you know that you're about to get some shoes, okay, I'm pretty sure that if your parents, or whatever, you say you gave your shoes away to a homeless guy, they might be willing to buy you another pair, if not, then I'll buy you another pair. That's my theory. But it starts with changing yourself and your environment. And when you feel good about helping somebody, just because you can, not because you have to, but because you can, then it changes the whole dynamic of the chemicals in your body, and the emotion that are attached to that. And we're learning that we have 360 emotions, okay, that you're about to become aware of, that are actually emotions. Okay, they've been classified as other things. Okay, and you'll start to realize that like stubbing your toe is an emotion. Okay, pain is an emotion. The physical pain is an emotion or a reaction to the emotion. And you start getting into these layers of what the hell is really going on in your body. You can get pretty overwhelmed. And that's why this has to be as simple as possible, because it's just layers of the same thing over and over again. Yeah. And when you realize that, you're kind of, oh, all right, well, it's all the same thing. All I got to do is this, and you make it, and it's got 5,000 field interactions, and you're like, all right, it used to be this big, now it's this big. That's what I wanted. I'm a creator, and it doesn't matter what it looks like. As long as it looks good to you, it's going to work. I guarantee it. We're plugged into source energy right now. Somebody was telling me that they're getting so many different confusing thoughts and, things that are going on in their brain. And I said, yeah, that's because your crown chakra's been activated. Okay. You've been turned on, and now you're picking up a whole bunch of radio frequencies. Okay, you're picking them up. Now you got to learn to fine tune it to listen to just you. Okay, and then when you do that, you're connected to source. You learn to trust yourself and your own judgment, and you don't need people like me to sit there and tell you how to do this stuff, because, you know, or to trust that I'm telling you the truth. You know this stuff for yourself, and you learn how to problem solve. You learn how to apply it to every part of your life, you know, because it's the easy path. You know, I should be a beach bum. I'm trying to take things so easy. You know, I don't want to work if I don't have to. I've done that already, you know, and I know I'm not alone. I know there's a lot of people out there that, you know, I'm done working. I'm done working to be alive. I don't have to work to be alive. And, you know, it's a hard, you know, oh, if you don't work, you'll be dead. No, not it. You know, sorry, that's not it. So, but we're going to go ahead and let's stop the recording here. And we can work anything else out that we got.
And
details-wise.
it's getting late for me too. I just